Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Lift Up Your Standard. We're so glad that you are here. I know I've been talking a lot lately about fear of man, and I've been kind of talking about getting past that in obedience. Today, I want to talk about obedience and fear of man again, but I want to share a true story with you. I want to share a story with you that is actually happening right now as we speak, that we're actually living in and witnessing right now. And kind of, I guess the name of this whole thing is called the ripple effect. And how when we say a small yes, we have no clue what that ripple effect is going to be, what the results of that small yes, and how that's going to affect the future. We don't have a clue most of the time what's going to happen. And I want to share with you a story. I'm going to start where we're at right now, where we're at here now, and then I'm going to go back a year, and I'm going to share with you all the different key points of all the people that said yes and what transpired. Today, Jackie's husband, many of you have heard me many times talk about Jackie being my assistant here at All for His Glory Dance and Play. Her husband got saved at Christmas time at a service here in my church. And it was all because people said yes. And today he is serving, he is talking about the Lord, he's excited, he's filled with joy, he's flagging. We love men who flag, that is so awesome. And what would have happened if we would not have said yes along the way? You know, hindsight's always 20/20. But I always like to look back and see what got us to this point today. And hopefully learn something from that process. Because, yeah, maybe he would have gotten saved, but maybe he wouldn't have, or it might be 10 years down the road. There could be a whole lot of different scenarios we could go into, and we're not going to do that today. But just let your imagination run away with you for a minute, and you'll see what I'm trying to say. All right, so I'm going to start about a year ago. A little over a year ago, the Father asked me to leave the church that I was at and find a new church. He led me here. It was a very quick thing. He led me right here to Heartland. And as hard as it was to leave my former church and leave Jackie and other people behind and move to this new church, as hard as that was, I knew that I had to say yes. And so I did. Jackie stayed at the old church. I was at my new church, and I was a happy camper, and she was a happy camper, and everybody was happy campers. Well, anyway, so moving forward a little bit, come the fall, which, and I'm guessing at a lot of this, but that's okay because I've been doing dance for a long time and I kind of know how all this works. Our pastors and leaders in our church here at Heartland are very open to the arts and dance and so on. So they have already said yes to the arts and to dance. They in turn asked our dance leader, would she put together something for Advent through Christmas? Of course, she said yes. Not that they said yes, she said yes. She in turn asks a bunch of us to be a part of this process of this dance through Advent. Several of us said yes. We spent a lot of time getting ready and preparing for this dance. On the final Sunday of Advent, right at Christmas, it was either Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, that was the day we were doing the dance. Well, the Father kept asking me to ask Jackie and Lauren to come to church on Christmas Day. And I knew Jackie was still going to the other church, and I made every effort not to invite her to events at our church or anything like that. Didn't want to proselytize in any way, shape, or form. But he kept prompting me to ask her and her husband to join us on Christmas. I said, I'm doing a special dance. I would really love it if you guys would come. They said yes. That morning, after the Advent dance, after the whole service, which was a beautiful service, Lauren said yes to Jesus. Lauren's heart was touched by the Holy Spirit in such a strong way that he still to this day will tell you, I heard God talk to me. And since that day, since that day he is growing leaps and bounds. He's flagging. He's so excited about Jesus. He's become a part of our ministry here at All for His Glory Dance and Play. He helps out whenever he can. It's just been amazing. Now, what would have happened if we would not have said yes? What would have happened if we would have not followed the prompting of the Holy Spirit? When God said, I want you to do this. What would have happened if we would have let the fear of man get in the way? What if I would have said, well, I'm afraid my former pastor might get angry with me if I invite them to church? You know, I can't worry about that. God asked me to do it, and I had to be obedient. And that's what I'm talking about, the ripple effect. When we hear God nudge us and say, hey, I want you to step out. I want you to go shake that person's hand. Or I want you to go flag in this place. Or I want you to go to the altar and pray. Or I want you to go to the altar and worship. Whatever the case may be. The devil is not going to tell you to do that, people. I'm going to tell you that right now. That is a lie from the pit of hell. The devil's not going to ask you to do that. He doesn't want you worshiping God in any way, shape, or form. Don't rationalize it. Don't worry about what man thinks. Do what God is telling you to do. Because let me tell you something. You do not know what kind of ripple effect your actions will have. When you say yes, you have no clue how that might touch a total stranger sitting in the back row. How you walking up to that person who makes the coffee every Sunday and thanking them. And God says, go up to that lady and tell her thank you for making coffee every Sunday, and loads of it. She might be having a rough day. She just needs a hug, or she needs some encouragement from you, or your pastor, or the stranger across the way. Be obedient and follow that nudge. Follow that Holy Spirit talking to you. You don't have a clue what that ripple effect will be. You may never know on this planet in this lifetime, but I can guarantee you will know when you get to heaven. Because the Holy Spirit's going to make sure that you're made aware of all the times that you said yes and it made a difference. So I'm going to wrap it up here. I just want to really encourage you. Say yes. When Holy Spirit prompts you, don't worry about what man thinks. Step out. Step out and do what He's called you to do. And you know what? Even if you make a mistake, that's okay, because God's grace is sufficient. His Word has told us that. So quit being afraid. Be obedient, step out, and watch for the ripple effect. Have a great week. Love you guys.